Paano ba ang tamang pag-manage ng pera? Hello friends! Welcome to the Pinay Investor where we talk about budgeting, saving, and investing. Ako po si Janice and I'm passionate about teaching financial literacy one family at a time. Here are my 5 smart steps to manage your finances wisely. Step number 1, create a budget. Alamin mo muna, magkano ba ang income mo? Ano-ano ba ang mga expenses nyo? Dito mo malalaman ang katotohanan at kung ano ang current financial status mo. Kaya huwag kang matakot mag-budget. So, paano ba mag-budget? Tingnan natin tong sample budget ng isang family of 3. Si husband kumikita ng 40,000 a month, si wife 30,000 a month, at ang total income ng family ay 70,000 pesos per month. Ito ang sample expenses nila at ang total expenses per month is 50,000 pesos. So income minus expenses, ang natitira for savings is 20,000 pesos. Sample budget lang po ito. Pag alam mo na kung magkano ang kaya mong i-save every month, pwede mo nang palitan ang formula from income minus expenses equals savings to income minus savings equal expenses. So every time na makaka-receive kayo ng sweldo, isa-set aside nyo na yung para sa savings, saka nyo pagkakasyahin yung natira para sa expenses. Dahil alam mo na ngayon na kaya mong mag-save ng at least 20,000 pesos per month, the next question is, saan mo gagamitin ang savings na to? Dito na pumapasok ang step number 2, which is to write your financial goals. Ano ba ang mga pangarap mo sa buhay? Ano ba ang gusto mong paglaanan ng savings mo? Alam ko iba-iba tayo ng pangarap. I have 3 categories under dito sa financial goals. Number 1, savings fund. Number 2, protection fund. And number 3, investment fund. Under savings fund, nilalagay ko dito ang emergency fund for unexpected expenses. At least 3 months worth of monthly expenses, then 6 months, then 12 pagkaya na. At pangalawa, yung sinking fund para sa mga expected expenses o irregular ang payments like annual, semi-annual, quarterly, kagaya ng car insurance, car registration, maintenance, Christmas and New Year, and family outings. Under protection fund naman, kasama na dito ang PhilHealth at SSS. Kung employed ka, kinakaltas na yan sa sweldo mo. Pero kung self-employed ka or individually paying member, ikaw ang magbabayad nito voluntarily. Importante ang PhilHealth kasi kahit may HMO ka o health card, malaking bagay ang PhilHealth benefits. Pag wala kang PhilHealth, ikaw ang sasagot ng amount na dapat ay si PhilHealth ang magbabayad. Pero tandaan natin na hindi sapat ang PhilHealth lang. Mas maganda kung meron din tayong HMO o health card sakaling ma-hospitalize tayo. At kung kaya ng budget, sikapin natin na mag-alat ng fund para sa health insurance na may critical illness coverage kagaya ng stroke, cancer, heart attack, diabetes, dahil pwedeng umabot ng milyon ang gastos nito. Saan ka kukuha ng pampagamot kung wala kang critical illness coverage? Sapat ba ang savings o investment mo para dito? At number 4 dito sa protection fund is life insurance. Ayaw man nating isipin pero alam natin na lahat tayo papunta doon. Paano kung nangyari ang di inaasahan at wala tayong life insurance? Lalo na kung may mga taong umaasa sa'yo, you really need to consider getting life insurance. The younger you are and the healthier you are, the better. Kasi pag matanda ka na or may sakit ka na, baka mataas na ang kailangan mong bayaran o baka hindi ka na makapag-avail ng insurance. Sa investment fund naman, pwede mong paglaanan dito ang education ng mga anak mo, retirement fund nyo, dream house or car, travel or vacation at iba pa. Okay, so naisulat na natin ang ating financial goals. Step number 3 is to allocate your funds to your financial goals. Remember, sa ating sample budget, income is 70,000, expenses is 50,000, at yung savings is 20,000 pesos. Paano natin i-allocate yung 20,000 na to para sa ating financial goals? Depende sa ating priorities, pwede nating i-allocate ng ganito yung 20,000 na monthly savings. Kung titingnan naman natin yearly, ganito ang yearly fund allocation ng ating goals. At kung titingnan naman natin by category, sa savings fund, 105,000 ang mapupunta rito. Sa protection fund, 83,600 at sa investment fund, 51,400 pesos. Siguro yung iba magtatanong, bakit hindi na lang pagsamasamahin yung 20,000 pesos monthly savings sa iisang account? Tapos kukuha na lang pag may kailangang bayaran. Actually, pwede naman. Kaya lang, it takes more discipline to do this. Kasi paano pag may nakita kang bagong gadget worth 50,000? Sumilip ka sa bank account mo, may 240,000 ka naman. So baka ang mangyari, kumuha ka na muna dito. O kaya naman, may nagkasakit sa family, walang health insurance, inabot ng 10 days sa hospital at ang hospital bill, 200,000. Well, siguro okay lang kasi may 240,000 ka naman dito. Pero paano yung mga goals mo? Yung educational fund and retirement fund, back to zero ka na naman. At paano naman kung nagkaroon ng critical illness si breadwinner? Kasya ba ang 240,000 pampagamot? Kaya napaka-importante ng pagkakaroon ng protection fund dahil ito ang magiging safety net natin in case of uncertainties like disability, critical illness, or untimely death. And it boils down to this: budget wisely and allocate your savings properly. Huwag ilagay sa isang basket lang. Sabi nga nila, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. Yung iba, pag may extra money, gusto nila i-invest kagad. Saan ba ako pwedeng mag-invest? Meron akong 20,000 dito na nasa bangko, hindi kumikita. Saan ko ba pwede itong i-invest? Tapos, pag may emergency or may na-ospital, kukunin din kahit lugi. Dito sa ating sample budget, 51,400 lang yung napunta sa investment. Mas malaki pa ang napunta sa protection fund kasi 83,600. Pero let's think of it this way. Pag na-diagnose ng critical illness si husband o si wife at covered ng health insurance, pwede siyang makatanggap ng lump sum amount na 1 million pesos o depende sa kinuha mong coverage. Magkano ba ang 50,000 per year? Kung panatag naman ang loob mo na pag may nagkasakit, nandyan ang insurance na sasalo sa'yo. Step number 4, put your funds in the right accounts. Saan ba natin dapat ilagay ang savings natin? For your savings fund, pwede mong ilagay sa isang regular savings account na mababa lang ang interest per annum pero pwede na, easily accessible. Pwede rin sa digital banks na 2 to 4% interest per annum. Pwede rin sa co-op na 1 to 2% interest per annum. Pwede rin sa savings account with insurance like BPI Save Up na pwede kang magkaroon ng times 3 or times 5 na coverage based don sa ADB mo or average daily balance. Ang importante nating i-consider dito is yung ating savings fund dapat easily accessible na hindi naman nasa bahay lang or nasa ilalim lang ng kama natin kasi baka ngat-ngatin lang yan ng daga o baka manakaw. So ilagay natin sa isang safe place or sa isang bank account na pwede nating kunin anytime. Wag nating ilalagay ang ating savings fund sa investment dahil paano pag kailangan mo, paano pag mayroong emergency, baka mahirapan kang i-withdraw to o baka naman kahit lugi, i-withdraw mo pa din dahil wala kang ibang choice. For your protection fund naman, para sa PhilHealth, kailangan mong magbayad ng contribution sa PhilHealth para makapag-avail ng benefits. Kapag employed ka, kinakaltas na yan sa sweldo. Pero kapag ka individually paying member o voluntary member, kailangan mong magbayad sa PhilHealth voluntarily. Para naman sa health card, kailangan mong kumuha ng health card sa isang HMO company kung ikaw ay self-employed, business owner, or sa bahay ka nag-work. Pero kung ikaw ay employed, provided na to ng employer mo. Pero kung gusto mo pang dagdagan ng coverage mo, you can always get an additional coverage sa HMO companies. Yung health and life insurance naman, pwede kang mag-inquire sa mga insurance companies. Meron din mga insurance companies na nag-o-offer na ngayon ng HMO with health insurance and life insurance in one. For your investment fund naman, napakaraming options para mag-invest. Pwede kang mag-invest sa mutual funds, UITF, sa co-op. May nakita akong preferred share sa co-op na 7% ang interest per annum at guaranteed, non-taxable pa. So, hanap kayo ng mga co-op sa areas nyo, baka may mahanap din kayo. And kung medyo mataas ang risk appetite mo, medyo aggressive ka in terms of investing, pwede kang mag-invest directly sa stock market na medyo mas mataas ang risk pero mas mataas din ang potential returns. Sabihin na lang natin around 10% per annum. At hindi ka lang kumikita dito through capital appreciation o pagtaas ng value ng stock, kumikita ka din through dividends. Although non-guaranteed po ito, hindi po ito guaranteed kaya kailangan po nating aralin muna ang mga investment vehicles bago tayo mag-invest. But what if you don't have the time or ability to do all these things? Kasi siguro busy ka sa work or talagang ayaw mo lang na intindihin pa yung mga investments kasi marami kang ginagawa or masyadong complicated to para sa'yo. So here are 3 tips or 3 suggestions that I can give you. So una, if you have a lot of funds na kailangan i-manage, you can hire a fiduciary, fee-based financial planner to help you. Fiduciary meaning hindi sila affiliated sa kahit anong company na pwedeng maka-affect sa pag-recommend nila ng products o solutions sa client. They don't earn commission by recommending insurance products or investment companies. They usually earn a percentage of your investment gains na minamanage nila. Pwede ka ding mag-consult sa kanila and you will be charged per hour or depende sa services na ino-offer ni financial planner. Number 2, consider getting a VUL plan. Ito yung tinatawag na variable unit linked or unit linked product kung saan magkasama na ang insurance at investment. Ito yung isa sa madalas na i-offer ng mga financial advisors. Kung sa tingin mo hindi mo kayang i-sustain for the long term ang VUL insurance premiums mo, huwag ka na kumuha ng VUL dahil baka masayang lang ang pera mo. Instead, go for BTID or yung tinatawag na buy term and invest the difference. Kung saan, bibili ka lang ng term insurance na mura lang and then yung difference nun, yung iba mo pang funds, i-invest mo na directly sa mga funds na nabanggit ko kanina like mutual funds, stock market, depende sa risk appetite mo. Kaya it's very important that you know your needs, you know how much you can afford to pay, and find a financial advisor whom you can trust and who has your best interest. Hindi yung naghahabol lang ng commission. At kung di naman applicable sa'yo ang options 1 and 2, then try doing it yourself o DIY. Mag-alat ka ng time for your financial education. Sobrang dami ng resources online lalo na sa YouTube on how and where to save and invest your hard-earned money. And last but not the least, step number 5, go back to your budget. Go back to where you started. After all, our budget is not a set and forget kind of thing. We need to do our budget consistently every paycheck or every month, depende sa'yo. Iba-iba tayo ng budgeting system, so just follow the one that works best for you. Whether you're a pen and paper type of budgeter or you prefer using spreadsheets or budgeting apps or cash envelope system, okay lang yan. Basta ang mahalaga, you are consistent in budgeting. So just to recap, here are the 5 smart steps to manage your finances wisely. 1. Create a budget. 2. Create your financial goals. Number 3. Allocate your funds properly. Number 4. Put your funds in the right accounts. And number 5. Go back to your budget. At lagi po nating tatandaan that money is important, but it's not everything. We should be grateful for everything that we have because it is a gift from God. And we must keep our lives free from the love of money and be content with what we have. Instead, let us continue to pray for wisdom so that God will help us to be good and faithful stewards of our finances. Thank you for watching and God bless.